Est-ce que vos livres... And do people read your books in Nigeria?
They do, shockingly. They do.
Est-ce qu'il y a des librairies au Nigeria? Are there bookshops in Nigeria?
Je vois, mais c'est précisément parce que ça vous fait...
Yes, it's about it differently, and that is why I'm saying, are there bookshops? Of course, I imagine there are. But I could ask the question to the French. Do people read in France? I think less and less so.
You know, I think it reflects very poorly on French people that you have to ask me that question. I really do. Because, I mean, because I think surely, I mean, it's 2000, you know, I mean, come on. My books are read in Nigeria. They're studied in schools, actually not just Nigeria, across the continent of Africa. And it means a lot to me because obviously I'm very grateful to be read everywhere in the world, but there's something about being read by the people about whom you write. And some of my writing, there are people who've sort of made stage plays of some of the stories in Nigeria. When I wrote Half of a Yellow Sun, I remember doing my first event in Lagos, and it was a full house, and it suddenly turned into people just arguing about history. And I sat back and I just enjoyed it. So people were throwing words at each other. And for me, what was wonderful was that literature had made this happen, that because of this contested part of our history, people had read this book, and suddenly they were talking about it and they were disagreeing. But the point is that we're having a conversation, and that conversation had been prompted by literature. And so I felt hopeful about it.
So guys, I saw that video right there with the interview. Before we get into the interview itself, let me give you a backstory on who this lady is. This is Chimamanda Adichie. And she's a brilliant writer. She has won a lot of awards. She has traveled the world doing lectures, and all of her books, not all, but most of her books are studied in schools all over the continent. So, to show you how great this young lady is, let me name a few of her books for you. One of them is The Americana, Half of a Yellow Sun, Purple Hibiscus, We Should All Be Feminists, The Thing Around Your Neck, The Shivering, One World, The Arrangements, and so forth and so forth and so on. So she's a very established, well acclaimed writer. But anyway, I said that to say this. You see, with all her awards and all her books, and she has sold millions of copies of her books, and they are studied in schools because they are that good. But yet, the interviewer still gonna ask a dumb question about if her books is read in Africa, because she's Nigerian, and if they have bookstores on the continent. You see, this is how the Western world sees Africa. They see Africa, again, as I've been saying this in my videos. They paint this narrative, and white people see Africa as not all. So let's get that out there. Not all white people, because you have some white people that actually love the continent and do help in certain areas. But in the majority of them, they still see Africa as a third world country, a poor country, a country that's disease-ridden, a bunch of hungry people with flies on their mouth, because that's the narrative they paint, and uneducated. Because if you're gonna ask someone if they read books in the continent, or if they have bookstores, the disrespect, and then she wanna laugh it off as if it's a joke, and so she wanna ask that because French people don't read. Really? That's disrespectful. And I like her response. She stayed calm. I couldn't do what she stayed very calm, and she break it down for her and tell her that this only reflect on the French people, not on Africans, because we have so many brilliant inventors and engineers on the continent, and writers and lecturers. We have countless lecturers that goes around. But you see, you don't see these people on major medias there. You only can see these things on YouTube. You don't see it in known major networks. And you see, and the minister was in the audience, and you see when she started to speak, the minister get up and leave. For show you, again, the disrespect. He didn't even have the respect to stay and listen to what she's saying. He just get up and left, as if he's a regular person sitting there. And that girl is, this young lady is a brilliant award-winning writer, and she has written books on every topic you can think of. So, again, I forget the name of this lady. No, I'm not gonna say it, but we have a few Nobel Prize peace winners in Africa as well. So they want to paint this narrative that Africa is this place that nothing's good come from there. When without Africa, the world can't work, because every resources comes from Africa. Even the phone, the microphone she's using on the TVs, on the phones, all the substances that make that, cobalt and all that, comes from the Congo. The TV she's being video, everything is made from resources from Africa, the continent. So the disrespect these people just show to the continent is unbelievable. And this is why I like when you see lectures and our brilliant people go around and do interviews and give lectures. They can now see the depth and the knowledge that comes from the continent that they ripped off and rewrite and remanufacture to make it look as if it's theirs. So anyway, I don't want to go too deep in that, but I will just show you guys that I will put the full interview in the description so you can go and check it out yourself. Yeah, and then leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think about this interview and this white interviewer, how she behaved and the disrespect. So anyway, thanks for watching. If you don't know, it's the Washington SXM podcast. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Like, share, and subscribe. Peace. One love. Boom.